that they should be pumping out those athletes, and the athletes can take over the game, right? Like, not a lot of them sit there and put a lot of thought into their Instagram. They don't do that, right? I think like the best thing they could ever do, whether it be a team or whether it be an individual or whether it be the league, should have a branding coach, not a marketing coach, a branding coach, somebody that walks in and says, this is how you brand yourself. Like, this is how you do it. So take your phone, know that when you're on Twitter, when you're on Instagram, when you're on Facebook, those are different. They got a different audience, treat them in a different way, talk to them in a different way.
Yeah, it's a big, that's exactly what I've written is proper training. Have a proper structured training. So when kids come into the league at 17, 18, 19, you sit down with them at pre-season or any time, and you give them a proper, prepared, delivered session by experts. So you get, if you look at the fashion world, they're in the way they use influencers.
I was just about to talk about
really good way,
Tim. So I think it's a really good thing that you brought that up. And yes, training, preparation, understanding of how to reach your different audiences, and like Nate says, using the different platforms is important. But what you don't want to do is train the personality out of them, because that's what's going to sell, and that is what sells a lot with influencers. YouTubers. It's they're often very approachable, very like.
Look at the lad who was on Strictly.
Exactly.
He's a YouTuber.
Never
and he's
heard
gone
of him before that. Now he's presenting BBC's coverage
New Year's
of
thing.
the New Year. Yeah.
Look at that guy. He's done by being himself. But that's exactly what you do. Is that, like you say, it's a branding thing. You give them the framework. You don't say the old traditional media training of you can only say, oh look, the lads tried really hard. You don't do that. You just give them the thing of, look, everything you do is being looked at. If you tweet something, imagine it's been put on the side of a billboard. Think about it before you do, because some of the things and tweets and opinions you do get from some of our players don't cast the game in the best light at the moment, and that's something that we do need to work on. So if people do come across a rugby league player casually, they don't get put off, because that's the flip and the danger side of it.
So, in talking about, I agree, and getting them to manage the way they use their social media and reach the right audiences is totally something that there could be more training on. Talking about the influencers, like you say, that's a market out there that's relatively cheap. Like you say, fashion brands use it a lot. They don't pay them tons and tons of money to do their little promotions and ads. And something that it kind of also reminds me of is the thing that it was either the Lad Bible or Sports Joe or one of those things that are very present.
I think it was Joe, wasn't it?
Did the thing with the England team where they went along, had a training session. It was a little bit jokey in parts, but showed what these guys can do. It's that sort of audience that you can penetrate, where then you get viral. So then the next time that Sports Joe, sees the players that he was tackled by doing something incredible on a rugby field, it's on their page, it's on their feeds, and it's hitting their millions of followers.
Yeah,
across all the social media platforms.
And that's very cheap and easy to do. That just needs a bit of coordination and a bit of planning, but that is not big ad spend or anything.
It really doesn't. One of the simplest things you could do is get somebody. Imagine going and getting like a comedian that just tears people apart, right? Imagine bringing him in and allowing him, like, you'd have to pay him a little bit of money, but imagine a comedian with his own following that has nothing to do with rugby league, that has 10 times the following of rugby league. Imagine getting that guy to come in and letting him do voiceover where he's watching a game and he has no idea what he's doing and he's just making fun of rugby league. Imagine that, right? Like, he's teasing and he's making fun of it, but because he doesn't have a clue what he's watching, and he's just talking about however he feels like. And then you just put that out there. All his followers are going to laugh. They're going to think that's hilarious. They're going to tap a button and they're going to start following something, and you're going to get a quick spike. You're going to get some kind of, you're going to move the media.
Yeah, you're going to see people click on it and think, yeah, that's funny, but boy, that was impressive. And then.
Exactly. And then you get a couple fans from that. That's what you like, but here's the thing too, the game is not going to bring in people. The people are going to bring in people. It's 2019. People get enough of whatever they want. Like, they don't care. Like, I don't care, right? Like, the NFL playoffs are going on right now. I'm not watching. I could care less about the NFL playoffs. I don't care because I don't care about that team.
Nate, sure loss.
Right, that's the thing. But, I don't care. Like,
well, we're not talking about that.
So I'm not going to watch the playoffs anyways. But the honest answer is, I don't care about it because it doesn't hold my interest anymore because the game is too long. I'm very much, I mean, obviously I'm a go kind of person. I like a small amount of window of time, right? Like I want to be focused on a game for 2 hours and that's it. I also want to be focused on whatever's going to grab my attention. I'm not big on personalities. Like I don't necessarily follow anybody for that other than the only person I follow based on their following, I guess you'd say, is The Rock. I follow The Rock. And the main reason why I follow The Rock is because of the fact that he's related to a rugby league player. Not because he's The Rock, but because he's related to a rugby league player. So I'm like, oh, that's really cool. What if that connection could one day happen and he could get more publicity? That'd be really cool. So I follow him. Like once a month, I send him a message. Hey, I know you love rugby league. You should totally help us out. I send him a message like once a month. He may never pay attention to me, ever. But if he ever does, when he puts up a random video and 2 million people are liking it, if he just randomly decides, I should call my cousin and just go to one of these games, just like that, millions of people know that he's going to a game. Like, yeah, silly, but it's free to do it.
Yeah. We do have people within the game who have that reach, you know. Most notably is probably, oh my God, why has his name just slipped out of my head? Bloody Rabbitohs.
Rusty.
Russell Crowe. You know, and he does do that. He does what you're saying, Nate, but he does it with his huge platform already. So he just throws out stuff like, hey, go watch a game this week, or hey, get the Watch NRL app to watch this sport. It's amazing, to all his followers in America. So definitely that's doable. And it's even more doable if you're showing highlight reel plays backed up with maybe a player talking about how he felt when he pulled off that highlight reel play, and then, you know, giving a little bit of a show into that. Now, one thing the NFL, you might not love it, Nate, but one thing the NFL does outside of the game itself is profile its players remarkably well.
100%. I don't follow the NFL for games. I don't watch NFL games because I don't really care about the NFL. I watch college football, but I don't really care about that. I follow the NFL for one reason only, from the business standpoint. I follow them because of everything they do to brand their game, market their game, value their players. The NBA is even better at it. They're like, I don't care about basketball either, but I follow basketball. I follow all American sports from a business perspective. Like, what are they doing to make themselves better or worse? Like, baseball's dying because they're not embracing their players the right way. They're trying to be like, oh, it's traditional. We're supposed to have these like quiet, humble values. It's 2019. It's a league loaded with Latino players, and they're not letting them be Latin. And they're losing because of that. Like, in a country that is filled with Latin and Black people, they are not embracing Latin and Black culture in their sport, and they're dying because of it. Like,
and I suppose it's a similar way to our game, not necessarily embracing young people.
Absolutely.
In the young people markets. Now, so I look at like what options have we got out there to make a personality out of a talented individual that will then, alongside their media profile, look at their highlight reel and see that they're a fantastic player playing a fantastic game. And I look at some TV shows, Tim, that we have in the UK that we could maybe put some of these guys on, and there's a whole range of things.
Is this going to get into Captain Scarlet territory?
But there's a whole range of things. No, there's a whole range of things we can hit. I've designed a T-shirt, by the way, for the Leeds fans who want to buy it. But anyway, there's a whole range of things you can target through television programs, alongside the work that we can do with the influencers, like we spoke about, which would be cheap and very much available. But there's programs like Strictly Come Dancing, so you could get a recently retired international player that someone may know a bit about. They don't have to be big celebrities, because half of the people you don't necessarily hear of, you follow their journey, sort of thing.
Imagine Jamie Peacock going on it, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you can contrast this guy trying to do like a graceful waltz or American Smooth or something, and put that next to him absolutely lighting someone up and knocking them out in like this is the guy doing this sort of thing. And it makes another audience see some of the nuance of our great game.
So for example on that, I used to be a member at Surrey Cricket, and the season after Mark Ramprakash had been on Strictly was one of their biggest pre-sales of tickets ever. And that was all through the extra exposure that they got from that.
I mean, he got a few extras himself as well, didn't he? We don't want necessarily that with our. But on that line of a few extras, another show that I think maybe could help us reach like a younger audience as well, and kind of the gym culture audience maybe, something like Celebs Go Dating, something like that. I mean, because none of those people are actual celebrities, so it doesn't matter that our guys aren't actual celebrities. They're public figures just as much or more than most of the people on there. We've got some goofball characters who we can throw on that sort of show.
Yep. You make them celebrities.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you that has nothing to do with the rugby league guys, but let me ask you this. You guys are both from England, so you're going to be able to answer this probably pretty quick. There's like, who is the best player or the most famous player or the most outlandish player or whatever in football, in soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, in England right now that's from the north of England, from a place like Wigan or Leeds or anywhere up there? Like there's got to be some player that is from that area.
In terms of like who's got the biggest sort of profile out there, well, most soccer players now are foreign, so it's hard. Maybe Marcus Rashford or
I was
Jesse
going to say
Lingard.
Rashford was who I would go for.
Jesse Lingard, he's a person who's really
from
pushing
Warrington,
his own
yeah.
social media brand
Perfect.
himself.
So why aren't they inviting him in? Why aren't you finding out who can play with him? Like, which kind of rugby league guy can hang out with a guy like that and goof off and have fun and get in there in that circle? Like, that's the kind of thing. Like, focus on somebody that's, they're from the north of England. Cool. Sounds good. That's from rugby league territory. Hey, you're from rugby league territory. We'd love for you to come in and watch a game. You can do all these different things. Like, to me, the shows are awesome to have them on the shows. But again, it's regular TV, right? Like, it's regular TV, and most people in today's time, like, most people don't watch TV in the same way they used to. They don't consume regular channels. They consume YouTube, they consume Facebook, they consume Instagram, and they consume Twitter. And like, Facebook's older. Facebook's an older crowd. Like, we've got Facebook, but I didn't have personal Facebook until I started the podcast, because I didn't want Facebook. Because to me, I was like, I don't really care about Facebook. I just didn't really care about it. But
that's the point with targeting different shows, Nate, as well as different platforms. I know you say TV is kind of on the way out and all of those things. Totally appreciate that, and that's why we spent a bit of time talking about YouTubers and influencers. But these shows do still carry quite an audience in the UK, and it might not be a live audience anymore. It might be a on-demand catch-up audience, or it might just be an Instagram audience who watch the little clips where it's a funny bit from someone going on a date with a celebrity and it going wrong or what have you.
Or someone falling over on the ice dance show, whatever it's called.
Yeah, and then you can hit, alongside that, you can hit kind of your older audience with something like Strictly. You can hit, which is Dancing with the Stars for us, Nate.
Gotcha.
Or you could hit like your sports audience, get them on, we talked about Question of Sport, or get them on League of Their Own, which is a Sky Sports kind of goofier kind of version of the same thing. But again, it's a possibility for cross-promotion with one of our broadcast partners. So we talked about the BBC. Sky could do cross-promotion through their programming as well.
Or maybe get them, encourage them to have a rugby league dream team, remake dream team, Harchester Rovers, RLFC.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like following one of these teams and just putting them everywhere. It's like, imagine following Wigan for an entire year, putting them on kind of like they do in the NFL with like the behind the scenes on HBO. But if they did that, if you put that out on a YouTube channel, even if like, doesn't matter if it's a paid subscription. Again, I'm a big fan of giving away everything you possibly can for free, because it's going to bring in more people.
It's a hook. It's all about being a hook.
You don't have to give them away for free forever, do you? That's the point. No. I mean,
you give the bronze wash away, but you have to pay for gold and silver.
Absolutely.
That's what you do.
It's the off season. So that's the thing. So if you look at it right now, so if I were rugby league, what I would do is I would give away, because I personally think that like they've got a bad deal with Sky. I don't think it's a good deal at all. I think it's insane. But give away your entire off season and away from the field. So imagine if they had a channel that had a free channel, like a free YouTube channel run by Super League or whatever, or you had to go to Super League's website. Doesn't matter if you have to go to Super League's website, but you knew that every single day for 30 minutes, your team was going to be live for 30 minutes. You'd be able to look into their training for 30 minutes, or kicking training or whatever, or like every warm up is going to be on this one channel, and you can click between the different teams and you can watch them warming up before a game every single time. You have a kid that doesn't care about what everybody wants to, like, he's trying to learn how to kick really well. Maybe he wants to watch somebody kick so he can tune into his favorite player and be like, oh, why does he put his foot there? Why does he do this? Why does he do, like, you give away everything but the game